Entertainment Banter is a podcast that may use inappropriate language for some viewers, and as always, please wear your face mask while listening to the podcast. Thank you.
Welcome back to Entertainment Banter. I'm Joel.
I'm Matt.
Today, we are going to talk about The Legend of Zelda.
Oh.
Ching, ching. Oh, no. Yeah, ching.
Yeah.
From the original Nintendo.
We're talking Zelda across
the board.
Across the board.
But I remember the sword coming down and going, ching.
That's right.
I guess they did that in Link to the Past as well.
Yeah. So with Zelda, I'm not gonna lie. I'm gonna tell you a little bit right now. I don't think I've ever beaten a single Zelda game. In fact,
Are you crazy?
Yeah, I definitely cannot list all of them because if you're gonna talk about like even on the Game Boy and the Game Boy Advance, I definitely have not.
None of them.
I bought all of them. I've just never been able to beat them.
Well, sir, you will have to finish it.
I know. I actually plan on doing it when I'm in a nursing home peeing my pants because that's when I'll have the time to do it.
So tomorrow.
I hope it's not that soon, but you never know.
Okay. So The Legend of Zelda, for you people who do not know about it, it is about a orphan child, elf, I guess you'd call him. He's an elf.
Sure.
Who got
Some
abandoned. Woodland guy with pointy ears.
Yeah.
Got abandoned. Of course, he does not speak ever. He just makes grunting noises throughout all the games.
Yes.
And he is now seeked out to become a hero with courage because a princess of the land is in need of help.
And that's Zelda.
And that's Princess Zelda. And the elf child that needs to rescue her is Link. But then there's also Ganon, which they then changed to Ganondorf. Ganon is the pig form of him, and then Ganondorf is his human form.
Ah.
And he wants to take over the kingdom. Wow. I mean, I feel like I haven't played the game in forever. I feel like I'm like explaining this wrong. But anyway,
no.
so then Ganon, Zelda, and Link are all tied to each other.
Right.
By the Triforce. There are 3 triangle Triforce pieces that make up power, courage, and wisdom. And that's courage is Link, wisdom is Zelda, and power is Ganondorf, or Ganon. So they are linked to be tied together throughout time. And that is why every game that comes out, it feels like you're redoing the same story, but it's like different generations of this Link character.
Gotcha. And
different generations of Princess Zelda, and then different generations of Ganon that all have this tie together, like throughout forever time, right?
Right.
So which is really neat. So like each game you feel like you're playing, it's a new game, but it's like a new storyline, but then there's all this familiarity to it. Sure. Dungeons and what you have to do. So when you pick up a Zelda game after playing, Legend of Zelda 1, I'll skip 2 because 2 is actually a continuation of 1.
Did not know.
Yeah, it's actually the first one of the. It was
that
a sequel.
It was a side scroller.
Yes,
was that
was the side scroller
okay.
where Link could jump.
Ooh.
Not a top down. So throughout all those generations and all those games, you always pick up a game and you're like, oh, I know what I'm doing. It was really cool. Every so often they made sequels. So Legend of Zelda came out on Nintendo in 1984, I want to say.
Oof, I don't know.
With the gold cartridge?
The
infamous gold cartridge.
I was just going to say, the gold cartridge definitely sold it as a kid.
Yes, definitely.
It stood out among others.
They had a backpack with the gold cartridge at the
really?
Tokyo, yeah. It was pretty cool.
That is cool. It was clever because it definitely... I mean, every kid knew what Zelda was, especially because of that stupid cartridge.
And it's so sad, too. People all thought Zelda was the hero, and it's like,
no. Yes, because of that whole, because you associate Zelda with Link, but Link's not Zelda.
I always see that emo drawing someone did at a convention that shows Link crying and goes, I'm not Zelda.
That's funny.
But so Legend of Zelda, its sequel is the next one. No, it's Link's Adventure.
Link's Adventure.
Legend of Zelda, Link's Adventure.
Okay.
And then they made the Super Nintendo. I'm going to skip the Game Boy ones right now. And they made the Super Nintendo one, which is Link to the Past. So they kind of made that, this is the story, and then we're going to do Link to the Past to before the Nintendo one.
Oh,
So they kind of like put in the chronological order, but backwards. So that went there. And then when they made the N64 one after that, they went even further back beyond that.
That was
So,
before.
so in theory, the creator was saying, from what I understood when I was younger, is that the N64 Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time was the original story. That then he was the father of Link to the Past. Then he was the father of.
Okay.
That's from my understanding. But when they made Ocarina of Time, they made a sequel to that one,
Yes,
which
they
was
did.
Majora's Mask.
Yes.
I never finished that one actually.
Wow.
I never did.
I just remember going to college and learning about tunics and stuff in a costuming class, and I realized that my little brother had more knowledge about costumes than I did because he'd be like, "Oh, a tunic." I'm like, how the fuck do you know that? And he's like, "Oh, it's because it's in this game." And I'm like, "Oh." I'm like, "What game?" And like, this is the 64 version at the time. And I just watched. I remember watching him, and he was just fishing. And I go,
Yeah.
What are you doing? Just fishing? Like, yeah. I'm like, this is fucking lame.
That's an exciting part of that game.
Listen, I'm just saying, I'm trying. I like the game idea. I just never could beat it. And maybe because I don't have the patience for fishing. I'd rather
Maybe.
go out and reel fish or something.
No, that's boring.
After Mario Brothers, you just jump on things and crush them and punch bricks and shit. Like, I just couldn't understand the tranquility of fishing. Yeah.
Well, Legend of Zelda, the great part about the game and how they keep recreating the whole magical essence of it is that there was always puzzles to solve, and it challenged you. And that's maybe why I liked it so much.
Mhm.
Where challenges where it actually pisses you off, you can't get it. I mean, a lot of people will buy those books.
I'm glad you
guides.
said it pissed you off because honestly,
of course.
That's why I think for me, maybe because I just didn't have a lot of time to play. To me, the challenges, if they're too complicated, I pick a video game for the purpose of playing it when I have like 20 minutes to spare. I can't necessarily beat it in one day. You know what I mean?
No, and you won't in these Legend of Zelda games. And where I would get frustrated is too is when you did a certain temple, because sometimes you're not sure what temple you do first.
Okay.
Because sometimes it doesn't mean that they give you that weird direction. You have to talk to everybody to learn where you're going,
Right.
unless you have a strategy guide, which a lot of people do pick up. Or now you have cheats online.
Right.
Brats didn't know how hard it was. Back in my day, we had to buy a book with paper.
Yes.
And we had to look through it and look and see what we were doing. But sometimes you'd be playing a map and you're like, oh, I don't need the strategy guide for this part. And you play it, and then you'll see something corner of your eye like, oh, I should probably do that. But you're like, no, I won't do that.
Skip it.
You skip it and you go through this whole thing and you realize when you get to this end of this, maybe an hour, hour and a half, you go, fuck, I need to go back and do that. And you have to tread all the way back. And that's where it would get frustrating.
Sure.
But they were enjoyable times.
Well, I remember I was not one of the fortunate kids that bought the books, so I just remember mapping out the map as if I went from one screenshot to the next, I would draw the next one. Like, okay, a river's here, a river's there. Especially if you found like one of those secret entrances or hideaways or whatever. Like sometimes in the original game, like the cave would appear or something like that.
Well, and like Link to the Past, you had to tink your sword against the wall. Go, tink, 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 donk, donk, donk. Hey, I can put a bomb here.
Gotcha. Yeah, so it's crazy. I also did not like, for Button Smasher, it's ironic, but I did not like the idea of every time you would walk into a new screen and then backpedal into the screen, all the villains you just almost got killed from immediately return. And, like, you already have, like, half a heart. You know what I mean? Like, son of a bitch!
You barely cross over and they reform.
And you're trying to retreat. Like, a lot of times you're trying to retreat from new enemies, and then you go into another area where there's even more enemies because they respawn.
Oh, yeah.
It also reminds me about, like, games today where you could just pause it or kill. Once a guy's dead, he's dead. It wasn't like that back in the day.
Well, yeah. No. And one of the things you should notice, we'll tell our viewers. Did you notice that in Legend of Zelda, original one, Link to the Past, when you were full health with the Master Sword, you would shoot a beam out of the sword.
Yes, I do.
Ocarina of Time did not have that.
Oh, okay.
You did not earn that. You didn't get that, and it was really confusing because everyone got used to it. So when they mined Majora's Mask, you got his last. You got this last mask that you got to wear.
Okay.
My brother beat it, and that's probably why I lost my steam to play because he beat it already, and I watched him do it. I'm like, well, I don't have to do this now.
Right.
I did play the game. But anyways, he got this mask, he put it on, and he became an adult Link. Because the whole game you're playing a child Link.
Okay.
He became an adult Link, which was cool. And then he was able, at full health, he was able to shoot beams out of
Gotcha.
the sword, which was cool.
So maybe because he was younger.
But he couldn't do it. Well, in Ocarina of Time, he became an adult. Remember that? He still couldn't.
Yeah. See,
That was the coolest scene. Link, chink.
That's true. There were some moments that were cool.
They kept him in the time chamber for like 10 years, 7
Yes,
years, some
yes.
ridiculous number. Yeah.
Well, when the 64 version was made, that's when I feel the game took a turn.
It took a major turn.
You know, and you got your little nav fairy, whatever the hell it was.
Navi.
Navi.
Hey, over here. Listen.
Yeah, listen, whatever. I don't know.
I wanted to kill her.
Yeah, it was kind of irritating. But then let's move on, because I bought a Wii, and again, I haven't played much of it.
Did you get Wind Waker? Or not Wind
I
Waker?
bought the 2 Zelda games that came out for that. And the Wii was the first time you could actually.
So
use,
you
like, a
bought
bow and arrow.
Twilight Princess
Yes.
and okay.
Yeah, and so
and
like you can actually.
Wind Waker. No, not Wind Waker.
I can't even tell you the name of the
Oof.
second one.
It's Twilight Princess, and I have it. I just beat it. It was the flying around one, the wind.
Yes, yeah. But you know,
Sorry, if one of you guys know, you can
Yeah,
you can email Matthew Curtis.
it's Banter, not expert. Is it?
Yeah.
So
We
anyways,
play these games and we like them.
Yes,
We don't know everything.
why. We don't know anything.
Information may be off. Disclaimer.
But I thought it was kind of cool. You could. That to me felt like that was the first time a Zelda game could actually be more enjoyable because you had a more physical element to it. But
Are you serious? I actually bought the Twilight Princess for a GameCube because I did not want to use the sword as you're swinging your arm around. Because I mean, Wind Waker, not Wind Waker. What is the second one? I'm just gonna drive me nuts.
I don't know, but I can tell you that.
But
it was annoying because obviously the sensors of the time were not accurate, so it was very.
That's why I was really annoyed. The Twilight Princess was stupid because you had to it almost looked like you had to jerk off to swing the sword. And the reason why I know this is because I bought the GameCube one and my brother bought the other one, and he was playing. And I'm like, what the fuck are you doing in here? It was really retarded. So the second one for the Wii did not have that problem.
Gotcha.
Skyward Sword.
That's it.
That's the game. And you didn't have that problem with Skyward Sword. But I had the problem where when you're playing a boss and you had to hold a nunchuck in your hand in one, and your right hand had the wand.
Yes.
And you had to swing them, shake them both to do certain moves. I had slammed my knuckles together a few times during that, and it hurt. I'm like, bam,
That's funny.
It hurt.
That's funny. So, what is the most recent Zelda game? Did they make it for the Wii U?
Yes, there is one coming out. I just
Okay.
found this out. I'm so bad at keeping up on it. I'm more up on Halo than I am on Legend of Zelda. And I love Legend of Zelda. I mean, I even have the Philips CDI ones.
Yeah, I know.
One Legend of Zelda. If you go back to one of our old banters, we mentioned that Nintendo made a deal with Sony, backed out, and made a cross deal with Philips CDI. Philips Magnavox. Is it just Philips? This is Philips.
Maybe back then it was.
Maybe, and then they backed out of that. But at the time, Philips still had the rights to Nintendo characters, Mario and Legend of Zelda, and they ended up making 2 Legend of Zelda games on the Philips CDI. I do not have the system, but I have the games.
Oh, really?
Yeah, never got the system.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's cool. I'm sure there must be worth something, right? I would imagine so.
I think so, but mine are German. I couldn't get English ones. They're hard to find.
That's so funny.
If someone has one, let me know.
All right, we'll do. I'll be on the lookout for that.
I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to the million viewers we got.
Our 3 viewers. Our moms don't count.
Our moms don't count.
So
Nor does your wife.
you know what's funny is as Zelda. I mentioned this before we went on air, but I remember the Super Mario Brothers Super Show.
Yeah.
Every Friday they would have the Zelda cartoon.
Excuse me, princess.
Yeah, and he was always wanting to get a kiss or laid or something, but that was pretty good.
Laid.
It was fun to watch.
But it was the child version, so it
Yeah.
was a kiss.
Yeah, but it's a
Kiss
fun
on my
show to
pee-pee.
watch, right? I enjoyed it.
It was. The whole Mario thing was fun.
Yeah.
Live action Mario in the cartoon.
Yeah.
You know, we the Mario Brothers.
Yeah. So yeah, that was cool.
So yeah, so they're making one for the Wii U. It's coming out. They recreated a lot of them over and over again. I think the
The
Game Boy
DS.
Advance
Yeah.
3D,
Oh yeah.
3DO, 3D.
Well, I bought some of those too. Some of them.
But
on
they
TV.
made I think Ocarina of Time for that again, and
Oh, okay.
I think and Wind Waker
Well,
for
I was
that.
frustrated with the Game Boy Advance. Yes, I think that's true. The right now I have a. It's just a regular DS, but they came out with this weird Four Swords, and then it was like
No, Four Swords was amazing. I'm glad you bring that up.
Oh,
That was
okay.
an amazing game.
Is that the one with the train?
The
Is that something
train.
else? There was one DS game that had he was riding a train everywhere. And it was kind of retarded. It's like, why are there trains in this world? I don't envision
All I know of the Game Boy ones, I had Link's Awakening, the seasons. There's 2 seasons. One
Okay.
for Game Boy Advance. Link's. They did Link to the Past for Game Boy Advance as well.
Okay.
They also did Four Swords, but that was a GameCube game as well.
Yes.
It wasn't a Game Boy Advance game; it was a GameCube game. But you can use your Game Boy Advance controller to play, and it was cool when you played with friends. You would do the adventure like Link to the Past, because that kind of game top down, and you would do the adventure with each other and work together. But then, like when someone do a cave by themselves, it wouldn't split the screen on TV. It would go down to your controller. You can play from there and do that.
That's
And it was
cool.
really cool.
That's cool.
I have it. We can play. I'm serious.
I know. I
I'm
believe
dead
you.
serious.
I know you are.
Really serious.
Okay.
I don't have many Game Boy
Let's
Advances
finish
though.
our podcast first before we consider doing that. But yeah, sure.
I'd have to look up where all my Game Boy Advances are.
That's funny.
But that was the purpose of that one. We got stuck though, because when we first started playing that one, we got the Japanese one, and we couldn't answer the question right. They kept asking us in Japanese. We're like, "What are they saying?"
That's funny.
So,
All right. So, were there any particular creatures and or bosses that you remember that you just absolutely hated?
like that just frustrated the shit out of me.
Yeah, or like every time you saw them, you're like irritating. Like for me, I don't know. Like for some reason, those in the first game, the prickly guys that shot the balls.
Oh,
You know what I'm talking about?
that jumped up and
Yeah, those.
I
guys
forgot what those guys were
irritated
called.
me. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, and then also the metal or the statues that had shields, so like you always had to attack them from behind, but they would always be really aggressive and chase you.
Oh yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
I think the ones that really annoyed me was in Ocarina of Time with the Skulltulas.
Oh, the skull people.
No, they would. The spiders would drop down with the skulls in front of you, and they'll drop out from nowhere.
Yes.
And then like you can't hit them
Right.
until they go, and they show their soft side.
Yes. I know what
Those
you're
were
talking about.
annoying.
Yep, I can see that. You know what's interesting too? Because of those creatures, I remembered that the Zelda for 64, it was one of the first ones too that it turned night into day,
Yes,
and I thought that was kind of a cool touch.
it was really cool.
Yeah.
I always have fun playing these games. So I don't own a Wii U right now, so I'll have to buy one for this new Zelda game.
Yeah, that's like the good bad. I don't want to get off track with the Nintendo Banter where it's just like it feels like they repeat the same 5 things. Xbox,
They do.
Xbox does it too, you know.
Well, you get this chemistry. You get this what's the word? You get this. You get this recipe.
Yeah, recipe
of great, of great games of how it works. It's a platform. This is my recipe. This, boy wakes up orphan. Princess tells him you need help. Ganon, villain is trying to take over the castle. Go get come courage. Come help me. And that's every game almost. And they get this great recipe that works and people like it. And they do it for once. They do a sequel. The first time they did it, and then all of a sudden they said, "Well, let's kind of recreate the first one and make it better." And then people really liked that. So when they did it again for Ocarina of Time, they really upped their game and just redid the puzzles. Because it comes down to it's just it's this guise of all these puzzles,
right?
And that's what people want to play. And then you add some good story to it, people enjoy it. And when you start doing these cinema scenes and people really got into Ocarina of Time when he pulled the Master Sword out. That is one of the most drawn pictures of Link I've ever seen.
It was very entertaining.
It is amazing. I mean, they made the most annoying character of the year that year, Navi.
Right.
But it was still, great. You had this little tool that came around. And you had lock on. You could do cool backflips as Link.
Right.
And it was amazing. So why would you ruin that recipe?
I guess not. I mean, the only thing I found frustrating with that, it's been a long time, and keep in I have not finished them. But I've never been a fan of games that say, you need to go here to get this, and then that person says, well, in order to give you this, you need to go get me that.
Yeah.
That always irritated the crap.
That's a lot of
out
Legend
me.
of Zelda.
Yeah.
After you might say like, why would you mess with the recipe? We have not had a true original game, just like a movie. We haven't had truly original in a long time because people like to stick with the same recipe, the same.
Well, I would argue that Halo, when it first came out, was newish.
It was, and it was amazing because the first half of the game, not to go on a tangent on this,
Right.
I was just because I've been listening to audiobooks right now of Halo.
Sure.
You go through first half of the game through half the maps, right?
Right.
The second half of the game are those exact same maps, disoriented, backwards, or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Like you literally play the same map over and over again.
Right.
And I think that was genius.
Yeah.
Genius.
Well, what about Gears? Have you ever played
Gears of War?
Yeah.
I started to, then
I thought
because
that
friends
story,
made me.
I thought the story was actually really good. If you could get past the beginning of it, it was good. But I don't want to get away from Zelda.
No,
we're running
no.
out of time.
We are. I just wanted to mention too that since Legend of Zelda had such popularity, there was always talks about a movie being made.
Yes.
Never did. I always thought it'd be great if they did. I think those talks went down the drain when Mario Brothers bombed.
Well, if you saw how they did it,
Awful. How do you do that
I
to
don't
the
know.
movie? Anyways,
It
that
was
could be a
awful.
talk for another day.
80s. There's just certain movies in the 80s that it's like they Michael Bay'd it in the 80s. I don't know how you could do that. Yeah, just he did.
Michael Bay was still growing up, trying
He
to think
was.
about how to fuck up our Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Maybe Michael Bay watched Mario and loved it, and that's why he is the man he is today.
Maybe. So they didn't make a Legend of Zelda movie, and then there was a lot of people. They made the cartoon series. It wasn't bad, but it wasn't fantastic.
Yeah, exactly. It's probably fantastic now compared to what's on TV.
Well, it's especially some of the cartoons kids are watching. I think it's a good retro, and it's a classic to me, and I like to reminisce over it. But then there has been major talks of Legend of Zelda becoming a TV series on Netflix.
That would be cool.
Netflix was talking about doing that, and now I have stock in Nintendo, and that it jumped up that day when Netflix mentioned that they were in talks. Nothing has been said as of late that I'm aware of.
Well, if anybody can do it, Netflix can, because
I
they've been
think
surprising me.
It would be amazing.
And Netflix I don't know if you've noticed this, but Netflix has actually been kind of going into our generation as children. They've been honoring a lot of shows that as kids we watched, and they're coming out more and more now. I don't want us to talk about it, but there's been a couple of people or a couple of shows that have been listed that totally fit like our generation's childhood. I just thought that was very interesting. So I totally can see a Zelda.
And it'd be great. It's amazing how someone they choose certain games like Hitman or
but
Resident Evil, Mortal Kombat. They choose these random games. They do make money, and they make these movies on Need for Speed, and then they end up bombing after a while.
Yeah.
Like Resident Evil was the longest running video game movies ever because they did 4 of them?
I guess.
Which is amazing.
Yeah.
And they were decent movies. They weren't too bad. And Mortal Kombat got 2. Hitman's getting 3 now.
You know what I noticed though about that? Were those all Sony based?
Oh shit, maybe. Yeah.
Because Sony did a lot of...
I don't know about Mortal Kombat, but Hitman
I thought Mortal Kombat would have been a PlayStation
maybe.
thing.
They may have been.
I thought it was a PlayStation. Well, it came out with Nintendo at first,
But
I guess. But I thought but I don't know. That'd be interesting. Huh?
Yeah. But then they don't. Then games that you think would have great storylines, they can get a good writer behind it and just do this awesome movie. Halo is one of them.
Yep.
That District 9 was the budget to Halo, and they didn't trust the directors, so they ended up pulling it, and it went a different route. That's what I heard. And then Legend of Zelda would be another. Like if you just get a great writer and write on, they have great characters already made. You have great, environments.
Well, especially if you do it like Willow style or better, you know what I mean? You actually take your time with the village and stuff before you go out.
Yeah, and now since people are talking about doing TV shows because they're way better than movies these days. I mean, look at the TV shows we have right now.
TV shows have branched into a never-ending storyline, whereas before it used to be
just a sitcom.
A sitcom in 20 minutes and you're done.
And that's what people thought attention spans were. But now people are so into this, like pretty much every TV show is a soap opera. You're waiting to see who's going to get killed in Walking Dead, Game of Thrones, House of Cards, all these freaking shows that come out. Breaking Bad, they're so freaking amazing. So I think hopefully someone gets a hold of Halo. Like, I don't know, Peter Jackson was into it. Steven Spielberg was into Halo. Hopefully they decide to make a TV series. Because I heard Halo was going that route to a TV series. And The Legend of Zelda goes that way. If Netflix picks it up, I think it would have something. I think you're hitting a generation right now that is obsessed with Netflix that would probably go crazy for it. Sure. Look how good Marvel's doing. Maybe that's the next company Disney's going to buy, Nintendo.
Oh, I thought you were going to say Netflix. They can't buy everything I love.
Oh, but they can. And they will. Well,
that's a topic for another matter because I do think Disney's just basically buying franchises now. They're so fucking unoriginal. It's disgusting.
They are. I was just looking at something on a ticker, totally off topic, and we're near the end of this, near this thing. But I just want to say that 44% of Disney stocks is from ESPN.
I believe that.
That's insane.
Well, it's a huge sports market.
It is huge, and it's doing horrible right now. And this is why Disney stock is probably under $100 right now.
Right.
And even though with Star Wars is great, breaking feats, it just destroyed Avatar and all that shit.
Which Disney has deals with Avatar too.
They do.
Fucking.
That's what we have Avatar and Florida.
Why are we talking about this?
Why are we? Zelda. So, final thoughts on Legend of Zelda. Since I've been doing most of the talking on Legend of Zelda, and I love Legend of Zelda, I love Link to the Past. I have a Link to the Past. I love Link.
Yes.
I have a Master Sword and the Hyrulean Shield.
That's cool.
Very cool. So, final thoughts, Matt.
Final thoughts is this. I wish I had I actually wish I was more of a loser than I am and had no life whatsoever because I would love to just spend hours playing those games. But because I don't, I can't, So I've always loved the idea of Zelda, the game. And I would love to someday play it, but I just don't have
all the way through.
Yeah,
you played some, right?
I played a little bit of every game, but I probably don't get past finding my first pair of boots.
All right, so this is what we're going to do, viewers. We're going to make Matt sit down one day in about 6 months because it's going to be busy in our job. And he's going to sit down. I'm going to sit down with him, and we're going to help him through it. And we're going to play Ocarina of Time all the way through. And we will do a live stream.
Oh, okay.
Not a live stream. I guess we'll do a banter during you playing.
Okay.
That would be an interesting event.
Make sure you use the bathroom and get lots of food because it's going to take a while.
It's going to take so long, but we will shorten it up for you viewers.
All right. Well, that's it. We're definitely ran over and out of time, but
thanks for listening to Entertainment Banter this evening with Matt.
Have a good night.
You're not going to say my name?
Oh, and Joel.
Thank you. All right. I'm done.
If you enjoyed that one, you're going to enjoy this one.